Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, I will be going over vehicles that have the most gun depression in all of World of Tanks Blitz. We are not going to be dropping below Tier 5. I know there's a bunch of super low tier tanks, like Tier 2s and 3s, that have like 20 degrees of gun depression. In fact, the Japanese Tier 1 that was removed from the game, the R-Atsu, had 22 degrees of gun depression. It was basically enough to look directly down, which is kind of insane. But today, as I said, we're limiting it from Tier 5 and up. We are going to start off with a vehicle that has 11 degrees of gun depression, being this Japanese Tier 10 medium, the STB-1. Then we're going to be moving on to a vehicle that has 12 degrees, 13 degrees, and finishing off 15 degrees of gun depression. So let's get into some gameplay with the STB-1. This vehicle sits at 11 degrees of gun depression, and when you pair that with very solid turret armor, it allows this tank to be incredibly strong hull down. It does have some weaknesses, like it's a medium, so your armor's not going to be incredible, especially if you're on flat or people decide to push you. Heavies are going to be able to butter through your armor like no problems. But when you're using the gun depression, you are basically impervious. Yes, there are going to be some shells that hit your weak spots and some lucky shots that'll pen you, but for the most part, the STB-1 is not a vehicle to be messed with when you're using it properly. So, here we are, first game. Up against us, we have two Cobras, which is pretty nasty. We have one Cobra on our team and a WZ-132-1. Okay, well, just because we're showcasing gun depression does not mean we're going to be showcasing victories all day. Look at that gun depression, though. That is actually insane. And we're on a map that is hopefully going to allow us to use all of the gun depression, which is Oasis. Actually, no, this is Desert. But Desert Sands is pretty similar to Oasis on medium side. We can see one Cobra has been spotted. We are going to keep chilling in this bush, just seeing if anything else comes over here. We see a Kranvan and a Minotauro off to the other side. There's another Cobra. Okay. Well, we're going to move on up a bit. Let's see if we can get some damage into these Cobras. Here we go. Bonk. Unfortunate, but we have spotted the entire enemy team, so that's the good news. I don't think the 268 is over here, so we should be fine from that. We're going to aim it on the Cobra. There we go. Nice 340 damage shot, and that guy is getting absolutely badonkered. Another easy shell into the Cobra. Just like that, we've already done a pretty solid chunk. We're going to aim it on the other Cobra now. Get a nice hatching shot for 360. The Kampfpanzer is going to run. We're going to get another shell into the Cobra for 413, and our teammate is going to finish him off. So just like that, we've already had a pretty solid start for this battle. Our VK-72 and T-124 are holding the line strong, which is obviously very important for our team here. So we're going to push wide. We're going to see if we can get any spots into people crossing. Aw, unfortunate. Shell went just a teeny bit too high to try and penetrate that object. 268. Alright, let's push up a little bit. We got the Minotauro, and we got the Kron. Unfortunately, my 2 and 5B went directly in every single viewing angle we had. But that's alright. That's alright. We're going to push wide, and we're going to see if we can get to the side of these vehicles. My E4 is getting absolutely badonkered, which is obviously not great. Let's hope the Kampfpanzer pushes out. KPZ does. 270 damage right into his vehicle. We're going to reload again. We're going to see if we can get another shot into the KPZ. There you go. Unfortunately, we got two low rolls in a row, but that vehicle is very low on HP. And again, this is where having that gun depression is allowing us to just get shot after shot into our opponents. VK-72 gets cleared. All that's left over here is a KPZ, who we finish off, only bleeding 300 health in return. We got the 268, who is not focused on us right now. So we're going to put on our adrenaline. We're going to get on the side of the 268. Unfortunately, we do hit one of our shells into his spaced armor, but that's alright. Our second shell cuts right through this 268. We're up to 2,600 damage dealt. We're going to get another shell into his vehicle, and we're not going to try and get hit by the Kron, so we're just going to back up, and let's see. There you go, another 300 damage shot into the 268. At this point, we are bonking the enemy quite quickly. We're going to get a nice shell into the Kron, give him a nice little love tap as well, bringing him down to 360 HP. We're going to shoot him again. A little bit of a low roll, but nothing we can't handle. The Kron does end up dying. We got hit pretty hard there by that Kron as well. Pretty high roll, but look at that, right into the engine deck of the Minotauro. Just like that, we're up to 4,200 damage, which is a pretty chunky amount. We unfortunately are not able to pen the minnow with that shot, but that's alright. We're going to give him a nice love tap for 300 of our health. But hey, we won, we did 4,000 damage, and I think that was a good showcase of the STB-1 gun depression. Just a great tank in general for sitting hull down and getting the job done. We didn't block too much, but we did a lot at 4,000, so there's no complaints here. Let's move on to our next vehicle, which is no longer in Tier 10. It is going to be down at Tier 7, and it is a heavy called the Lupus. No, not the disease, a tank. This vehicle sits at 12 degrees of gun depression. It also has some other really interesting attributes going for it, like pretty high alpha, 400 damage per shot, which is more than the tier 10 that we just played in, which sits at about 330. So yeah, the alpha damage on this vehicle is really nasty, and it's going to allow you to easily outtrade even higher tiered opponents. When you pair that with the fact that this vehicle has 12 degrees of gun depression, it means that you can work any ridgeline, no problems whatsoever, and bonk people with that hard-hitting gun. Here we are in our battle. We have all tier 7s and tier 6s up against us, so that is a flat stinking W. Alright, well, I did not mean to say moving here, but that's alright. We're going to head right into the front line. Up against us, we are pretty in the clear. We got an M6, ARL 44, Tankenstein, Tiger 1. I mean, that's all pretty easy stuff. Gonna try and get around our Smasher. That's actually a decent player in the Smasher, which is a little surprising, but I'm hoping that we don't get blocked by our teammates here. So let's go wide so they don't get in our way anymore. Now, you'll notice that the Lupus is a very large vehicle, but look at this gun depression. That is insane. You would not think that this vehicle has 12 degrees, but we're on a pretty good map to showcase because this is a map where gun depression is actually very, very helpful. So we're going to aim it on the AMX, and look at that 400 damage shot into the AMX 1357. It's a really hard hitter. So we're going to put on our adrenaline. We're going to get another shell out here in just a moment if we can, although you know what? Got the T-43 right in front of us. Let's get a bonk in the him for 400. Lit him on fire. Well, this player doesn't really care if I have gun depression. Ooh, I thought we could get a little bit of a ram out. Unfortunately, we were not able to. I honestly have no clue what's going through the mind of this player, but I'm going to be real. I don't think that player has a mind of what's going through his mind. Alright, well there goes the T-43, and long live that, that's interesting maneuver of a player. Let's move on up. Let's see if we can get some damage into these players. We got a Basoto off to the side. We get hit by the M6. I could care less. We're going to push off over here. We're going to use our gun depression against this Tankenstein. Look at this gun depression. That is ridiculous. We do get hit by the ARL, lit on fire. Good thing I'm running double repair kit, or we would have been in some serious trouble. But we're all good. We've been able to get out some big shots so far, and we are just going to keep on holding this line. Let's see, we got the Tankenstein right in front of us, and that gun depression allows us to easily get a clearing shot into his vehicle. We are already up to 1,900 damage dealt, which is pretty dang solid for what it's worth. We're going to reload here, and I have a feeling the Basoto's still chilling in that back bush. He is, but we get a nice shot into the ARL, and the Smasher finishes him off. Nice. Alright, well, let's reload. We got the rear of the M6 right in front of us, so let's see if we can get some damage right into his booty. Are we able to HE him? We actually are. Let's try. Oh, 538 damage shot, bringing us up to 2,800 damage at this point, which is obviously pretty dang nasty. We're going to reload. Maybe we can get a shell into the M6. Nah, Smasher's able to finish him off. I don't think we're going to get any more damage out as our Jagdpanzers or ARL's going to finish him off, but hey, that was a pretty fast game. The 12 degrees gun depression easily allowed us to work that ridgeline against the Tankenstein, get some big bonks out, and the Alpha allows us just to get some big slaps in general. 3,000 damage dealt in a tier 7. Pretty solid. Definitely can't complain about that game. But let's move on to 13 degrees of gun depression. This time we're making our way to tier 9, being this, the Contracaro 1 Mark II. This tier 9 Italian auto-reloading tank destroyer is an absolute behemoth. Not only is it incredibly well armored on the front, but it hits hard at 450 damage per shot. It has very solid levels of penetration, and it has 3 shells, meaning that you can absolutely devastate people in front of you. It does have downsides, though. Unlike the Lupus and the previous vehicle, the STB, that have decent damage per minute for the tiers they sit at, this tank does not have good damage per minute. It sits at about 2,000 if you're using it fully based on DPM. However, if you're using this vehicle based on its overall armor and dumping the shells into your opponents, like most people would, you're probably going to be sitting more at about 1,500 damage per minute. It's enough to get the job done because you have a clip, but still, it's going to be tricky in some situations. Here we are in our game in the Contra. Wait until you see how much gun depression 13 degrees is, especially on a vehicle like this that is super low down. It looks absolutely absurd. Look at that gun depression. What the heck is this? Yeah, it's pretty dang nasty. So we are going to make our way, depending on where our team goes. We got a couple options. We can either go to mid-hill or we can go wide. I'm going to go to mid-hill because it is still the most important spot to hold in the game. Now, the Contra Car's major weak spot is the lower plate, but because this vehicle is quite good at being hauled down, we shouldn't have to worry too much about that. We can see a 62A off to the side, and for some reason our Object 260 decided to take the widest route I've ever seen. But we got the VK, and we're not able to hit that yet, but that's alright. We're just going to push right over. Hello, 4005. That's what 13 degrees of gun depression looks like, ladies and gents. It's pretty dumb. I'm not going to lie. Alright, well, we got a 260 right in front of us. That's not a 260. That's a 50B that I've just realized. Alright, well, I'm going to ram the 50B, just like so. Then we're going to get one shell, and he's dead. You know what? Could care less. He YOLO'd me probably because he knows who I am. He got absolutely crapped on and his game's over. So good job, bro. You got me. I got nothing to say. Absolutely nothing. Oh, we got a Cobra on our front. Managed to hesh pen me as well. That is super duper disappointing. But we can easily pen the Cobra even though he's fully hauled down here. And that's obviously a big advantage of driving a vehicle like this. Again, that gun depression allows us to be super dominant haul down. Got the grill in the back, and grill misses us, Cobra bounces us, and that means we can now start to play just a little bit more aggressive. We can wait for our team to make some plays here. Let's see if we can hit the grill. There you go. Nice 563 roll into his vehicle. Aiming again. Another 460 damage shot. And what was a fairly healthy tank destroyer is now brought to ruins. Let's see if we can get one more shell into the grill. And I don't even care if we die. We got another 470 damage shell into his vehicle, dealing 2,900 damage. And judging that that is the last vehicle left, we made the right move. Plus, we actually did a bit more than you think. Because that enemy AMX-50B decided to YOLO me at full speed, we must have gotten at least a decent chunk of damage from that ram. So we're actually probably sitting over 3,000 damage. But there's only one way to find out, and that is taking a look at the post-game results. Obviously, pretty solid victory when you have people tunneling you that hard. Yep, 3,171 damage. That means we rammed the AMX-50B for just about 400. I have legit no clue what was going through this player's mind. Not even a bad player, just sometimes you gotta YOLO droodles, but hey, you let me finish top on the team, so I can't really complain. 13 degrees of gun depression is absolutely ridiculous. And as you saw, we demolished that Cobra once we started looking at him. So, what is the #1 position for gun depression in today's video? Well, it's all the way down at tier 5, and it is called the Stridsvagn M42. This is a tech tree Swedish medium. It is a vehicle that doesn't really have anything crazy in terms of the gun. It's pretty mediocre damage per minute. Its accuracy's pretty meh, but it has 15 degrees of gun depression. That is an ungodly amount of gun depression. You will never ever have a ridgeline that you cannot work. You could probably be sitting on a sheer cliff and you could still shoot on your opponents. This gun depression is not as amazing as other vehicles because of the fact it doesn't have turret armor. The Contra car obviously has armor, so you can easily work the vehicle hull down. You won't get penned. That's the same for the STB-1, and that's similar for the Lupus. I wouldn't say the Lupus has incredible armor, but you will get bounces while using the gun depression. The Stridsvagn has 0 armor on the turret. Basically, anybody that shoots you is going to pen. Well, it looks like nobody's getting to see the Stridsvagn M42 in battle, not even myself, because I have been sitting 27 minutes in queue. I am so salty right now. Wargaming, how is your game this dead? 27 minutes in queue. I have not got a single battle in tier 5. I should also point out there was an additional 13 minutes of waiting before I exited the queue and went back in. That means I have a total of almost 40 minutes of waiting in queue to not get a game. What the heck? This game is dead, man, at least in the low tiers. High tiers, pretty good. Tier 6 and above, you'll get in the battles pretty fast, but holy crap! Do not try getting into a Tier 5 battle, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.